Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today's reading, I wanted this to be a little bit of a deeper reading. And this reading is going to be all about what your heart wants you to follow, what your heart wants you to pursue. Because I feel like oftentimes people tell you like, oh, just follow your heart, or follow what you're passionate about, or like follow your purpose. But sometimes we're so busy with day-to-day life or our own fears, or we're too stuck up in our heads that we don't really have time to sit down and listen to our heart. And sometimes people don't even know how to listen to their heart. And so I wanted this reading to be kind of an opportunity for you to have a conversation with your heart and get a message from your inner self and your highest self about, what do I really want out of life? What is really gonna fulfill me? What do I really want to pursue? And I want to clarify this by saying, I don't think humans are meant to have one purpose throughout their entire life. Some people have multiple purposes. Some people do just have like one major overarching purpose throughout their life. But, maybe at this point in time in your life, your purpose is to become a chef. And then later on in your life, your purpose is to become a beekeeper. But, what I want to look at right now is what is your purpose right now? What are you meant to follow right now? And, more than anything, what does your heart want to tell you? What does your heart want you to follow? And so that is everything that today's reading is going to be about. So today I have 3 different readings for you to choose from. We have pile 1 with the blue dumortierite, pile 2 with the yellow calcite, and pile 3 with the clear quartz. So go ahead and pause, figure out which reading you feel most drawn to. There will be timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1. If you chose the blue dumortierite, then this is the reading for you. And off the bat, like before I even got all the cards out, I immediately got the sense that you are the kind of person that I feel like you've never properly fit in with most people. And especially with today's society, or just the way that life is today, or maybe it's the town that you grew up in, but nothing's ever felt quite like it clicked. And when I was imagining you in my mind, I was imagining somebody who, that click that you're looking for, that you can't really find amongst people or amongst society or in cities. I feel like you feel that click when you're in nature or when you're around animals. I know a lot of people use the term like old soul or young soul, but I think the term that I'm looking for you isn't necessarily old or young soul, but like soul that's in the wrong time period. And some people are always like, oh, I wish I was born in a different time, but I truly get the sense that you are somebody who, I feel like your soul feels most connected and most aligned and most fulfilled when you are like out, not necessarily in nature, but like I'm just imagining somebody on their own homestead feeding their animals. They're surrounded by cows and horses, and like you can feel the sun on your skin and you can breathe in clean air. And I feel like that is something that would make your heart sing. Like that is the life that your heart and your soul is yearning for. And I feel like ever since a young age, you've been somebody who's been trying to force yourself to fit into modern society. I feel like you are a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. And like maybe you grew up in a bigger city, or maybe you grew up in the suburbs, and it's never felt quite right. And you've always been surrounded by lots of people, and even in those groups of people, maybe you've had friends, but you always felt like you were just on a different wavelength from them. Like you couldn't quite get on the same frequency. And I'm just imagining like, this whole reading idea is supposed to be like a message from your heart about what it is that your heart really wants you to follow. And all I'm imagining is just you and nature, you surrounded by animals, you with your own little homestead, growing and cooking your own food on your own. And I feel like you're somebody that's what your heart wants you to pursue. It's not money, it's not cars, it's not a fancy house, it's not traveling the world. It's just a little slice of life that you can call your own and feel free. And I'm imagining somebody who walks around through a grassy field barefoot, and like I don't know, maybe you make your own clothes, you sew your own dresses or trousers or hats. And I just imagine somebody weaving their own hat out of flowers. Like, I don't know, I feel like that's where life would really click for you. And I feel like when you were a child, I feel like you had all this love and excitement for life. And I'm just imagining like a little kid running through the forest, like giggling and so in tune with the natural world that it's almost like if you wanted to communicate with animals, you could understand them. But then, as people tried to fit you in the round hole, this square peg in a round hole, I almost imagine like that childlike joy and wonder just draining away. And I feel like when you look towards the future, it just seems bleak to you because none of it seems right. Maybe everybody's like, you need to go to school and you need to get this job and live in this city and like do all these things. And I feel like you can, like you certainly can, and you tried to, but none of it feels fulfilling. None of it feels right. And I feel like you're so frustrated because you can't understand, like, why doesn't it feel right? Everything that I'm doing is supposed to be the right thing that I'm doing, but even the friends I'm surrounded with, even that doesn't quite click. And I think it's because what you're truly meant to do in this life is be one with nature. And I truly imagine you on a homestead, making your own food. And I don't necessarily think that you need to be a complete recluse from society and the world, but I imagine I feel like you'd be a lot more comfortable in a small town where things move a lot slower. I've traveled to Montana and Wyoming, which is those states is where they filmed that show Yellowstone, where it's all the cowboys and stuff. And even just the way that people drive when you go out more into the country, everything slows down. Everything's more chill. Everybody's just nobody's in a rush. And then, I'm from California, and even though it's the same town that I've always grown up in, everybody's a little bit more disconnected, if that makes sense. And I think what you're really seeking is connection and a slower, more comfortable life, a life where you're not constantly in a rush to achieve things. I feel like you're the kind of person that you're comfortable watching the grass grow. In fact, that would make you happy to just sit outside and watch your crops grow. Even though, yeah, it's going to take a few weeks for them to be fruitful, it's you're I have time. And I'm just imagining you sitting on your porch with tea that you brewed yourself from jasmine you grew yourself. And that's the kind of life that fulfills you. I feel like when people talk about our purpose and following things, you always imagine people hustling and working extremely hard to achieve this grand thing, and it's this explosion of victory. But that's not necessarily what a purpose is meant to be. Sometimes purpose is found in the slow moments of watching the grass grow. Sometimes purpose is walking barefoot through a field. Sometimes purpose is building our own house with lumber that we cut down ourselves. And I feel like maybe that's your purpose. And I feel like people have showed you this perspective of what a purpose should look like, what a happy life should look like. And you've tried to fit yourself into that for so long, and no wonder it makes you unhappy. It's because that's not really what you're meant for. And so I think that's the first step, is what your heart wants you to wants to hold a mirror up to you and show you what you're truly meant for in life. And it's not this grand explosion of victory. It's the slower life, where you really feel connected to your animals, connected to the earth, and a true deep connection with the people around you. Not like these day-to-day, hey, how you doing? Good. Okay, can I get this coffee, please? And then when I look at the anxiety card with the Page of Pentacles reversed, I almost see this person who's constantly worried of I've achieved this thing, I've worked so hard, I've done all these things, why doesn't it feel right? Why doesn't it make me happy? And I feel like there's such this sense of anxiety and this feeling of needing to constantly rush from thing to thing, or get all these things done, and no wonder it doesn't feel right. That's not what you're meant for. It's like you're trying to put a fish on a hamster wheel. What is the fish gonna do? It's gonna flop around and get all banged up because it doesn't have legs and it doesn't know how to run. It's meant to be swimming. And I feel like you're okay, well, maybe if the hamster wheel doesn't work, let's try to climb a ladder. You're still a fish. You don't have arms. The ladder isn't going to work either. You're meant to swim. And maybe nobody showed you that swimming is a possibility. Maybe people are oh, that didn't work for you? Well, I just hiked a mountain. And the fish is how the hell do you expect me to hike a mountain? That's just not what I'm built for. And that's okay. But I feel like you haven't really had that realization of, you know what? I'm just meant for something different. And because of that, everything feeling wrong, it's left you with this sense of fear and anxiety of what if I never find happiness? What if I never feel fulfillment? What if life never feels right? What if I never get that feeling of things clicking into place? And I think the overarching meaning, or not meaning, but message that your heart is trying to give you is, don't be afraid to completely start over at something that you've never done. Like, I'll give you an example. Let's say that there's this person that grew up in the city, and they hated the city life, they hated the pollution and the smog, they hated that they could never touch proper grass that wasn't put in, like, in a man-made park. And all their life, they've looked at these videos and these movies and TV shows of cowboys. And that person is like, man, I wish I could do that. But, I grew up here, I've never ridden a horse before, never even touched a horse. There's no way I can do that. And I feel like what that person's heart would try to tell them is, hey, you don't need to be afraid to completely start over and move to a completely new place, even if you don't know anything. You still have time to learn. And I think that's what your heart is trying to tell you. Maybe you don't know how to homestead. Maybe you don't know the first thing about how to manage a property. Maybe you've never really lived in a small town. Maybe you don't really know how to cook all that well. But if you have this drive within you, if your heart is like, I want to do that, you can learn it. You don't need to have grown up on a farm in order to have a farm when you're older. You can learn. And especially in today's day and age where there's so many books, so many YouTube videos, so many TV shows about how to have a farm, how to have a garden, how to build a house. Like building a house, you can learn that online. Anything that your heart wants to pursue, don't come up with ideas as to how you can't do it. Instead, challenge yourself to ask, how can I try to learn this? How can I at least try to attempt it? Because what you have here is the peace card clarified by the Fool and the Star. And the Star is all about hope, and the Fool is about having that childlike wonder and joy and the ability to just push forward, even though you don't necessarily know where your next steps are. The Fool, maybe they're looking a little bit up at the sky and they don't necessarily see what's in front of them, and that can get you into trouble if you're being reckless, but it's all about the idea of just being able to push forward with excitement and just being able to move forward, even though, you don't need to constantly stress about, what are my next steps, or, what if it doesn't work out? Allow yourself to just take that leap of faith. I feel like that's what Spirit's asking you to do, is take that leap of faith and have hope. Have hope that you'll have the abilities to make it happen. Have faith in yourself and have faith that the universe wants what's best for you. The universe wants you to pursue what will make you happy and what will help you reach fulfillment. I mean, you wouldn't be getting this reading and you wouldn't be feeling these intuitive hits if this wasn't something that was meant for you. And with the Peace card, I think if you take this leap of faith, if you have faith in yourself and if you have faith in the universe, you can achieve this. And this will bring you a level of peace and tranquility and fulfillment that I think you've been longing for your entire life. I think this kind of life that I've been describing, this homesteading or, being close to the earth, being close to animals, allowing yourself to run wild and free, that's what's really going to mean something to you. That's what life is all about for you. That's where you're going to really reach fulfillment. And I know you have all these anxieties about well, what if I can't? Or what if it's too expensive? What if I can't make money? What if I can't sustain it? If there's a will, there's a way. And so instead of thinking about all the things that could go wrong, I want you to really sit and think, how can I make this happen? How could it go right? What skills would I need to learn in order to make this happen? And I bet you it's going to probably be a lot cheaper than living in a city anyway. You get some land in the middle of nowhere, it's super cheap. Maybe you have to build your house yourself. Maybe you have to renovate the property yourself. But I think that's the kind of journey that you're going to love and enjoy every second of. Maybe, it's a lot of hard work. You're going to sweat, maybe you're going to bleed a little bit, but working with your hands, being close to nature, I think that's the journey that you've been searching for, that you haven't really been able to grasp yet. And so, Pile 1, I think that is your heart's message for you today, is what you've been seeking is out there. You just need to be willing to ask yourself, what do I need to do in order to get this done? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn in order to achieve this? And so I truly wish you the best. I hope that you can achieve this dream for yourself and trust in your heart, trust in your intuition. I know that you'll be able to do it as long as you believe in yourself. So that is everything that I have. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, Pile 2. If you chose the yellow calcite, then this is the reading for you. And what I want to say is this reading is supposed to be all about what your heart wants you to pursue. And I think you already know what your heart wants you to pursue. And it doesn't exactly talk about it. And for some of you, this could be art. For some of you, this could be, a career path that maybe is a little bit outside the box. I'm not going to get into exactly what it is because I get the sense that each and every one of you already know what it is that you want to pursue. And this reading is more about, I think your heart really wants you to just get on track. Your heart just wants to push you into motion. And I feel like you have all these fears and these reasons why you shouldn't. And, what if it goes wrong? And maybe you face some rejection along the way and it's really made you want to shut down. And the main message that your heart has for you right now is not to give up and to continue to push yourself. Continue to trust that you have this desire within you and you have this drive within you for a reason. And I'm going to get into the details here, but I just wanted to start off by saying that, because if you're the kind of person where you're like, well, I don't really know what I want to pursue, it could be that you chose the wrong pile, so you might want to go back and choose again, or it could just be that this reading isn't meant for you. But I want to go ahead and get into the details. So, starting off with disruption and the sun reversed, I feel like what your heart wants to tell you is you have thought over and over again about all the ways that this could fall apart, all the ways that things could go wrong, all the ways that you could fail. You've thought about them over and over again to the point that, there is not a single scenario of failure that you have not thought up. But what I want to point you to is, how many times have you thought about how it can go right? For example, I'll give you the idea of like an author. Somebody with this great idea in their mind of this whole world that they want to write about and this amazing storyline that they want to write about, and they've thought about all the characters and they daydream about it constantly, but they've never let themselves put pen to paper because they think about, for example, what happens if they decide to publish it and everybody hates it and it doesn't get published? Or what happens if people think that it's cringy and then you get made fun of? Or what happens if people think you're a bad writer and then you never want to write again because you're so embarrassed? It's like you've thought about all these different scenarios of how it could go wrong, or how people could judge it, or, how it could get shut down, or how you could fail. And because of that, you've put clouds around this idea, this beautiful thing, this drive and this passion that you've had, and you've surrounded it with all the ways that it could fail. And it's like this thing that could be so beautiful, this seed that wants to be planted and wants to be nurtured. You've surrounded it with like thorns, and you've allowed yourself to not even reach it because of how afraid you are of, what if I do try and I fail? And you know what? What I want to tell you is the worst option is, what if you never try and you never get to succeed? And then you live life full of regrets of what if, and you watch people pass you by, of people that do try and they do succeed, and then you're haunted by these thoughts of like, what if I did try? And then it's just your mind telling you, no, remember why you didn't try? Remember all those fears? I think the biggest thing holding you back and the biggest toxin within you is all this fear that you have within you. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and you're already unhappy because of it. You're already not letting yourself pursue what you're passionate about. So how much worse could it get? You try it and you fail, or you try and people judge you? What I want to tell you is, like, these YouTube videos, for example. I've had people in my comments straight up tell me you should quit. Or people straight up telling me, like, this is the worst video I've ever watched. And you know what? I don't even pay those comments any mind. Because the comments that actually mean something to me are the people that are like, hey, this is exactly what I needed to hear today. Or the comments of people saying, you are the only person that has actually believed in what I'm trying to do. Every other person around me is judging me. And what I want to tell you is, it's not even the opinion of people outside of yourself that matter most. The opinion that matters most is your own. And I use this example all the time, but I want you to imagine, 50, 60 years from now when you're on your deathbed. You're sitting there. Would you want to be the kind of person that is only thinking about all the regrets that you have? Or do you want to be the kind of person that's at peace and can say, you know what? Maybe that thing never did work out. Maybe it never did reach the success that I was hoping for, but I did try. I tried over and over again. And sometimes it's about doing the thing because you love it. Not doing it because you want it to be successful, but doing it because you actually genuinely enjoy the thing that you're doing. And yeah, it'd be great if it could reach success, or if it could turn into XYZ, or if it could reach whatever you're trying to reach. But sometimes we also just need to do it because we love it. Maybe your goal isn't to become a world-renowned author, but it is to be, a fan fiction writer, and to have like a bunch of fans that really enjoy the writing that you're putting out. Or maybe it's to be like a really niche artist on Tumblr who, has a bunch of followers that like you, but maybe it doesn't turn into like the biggest thing in the world, and that's okay. It's because you're actually allowing yourself to pursue what you care about. But I think right now you're not even letting yourself take the little steps. So, I mean, how are you even gonna see if it's possible for you to reach major success if you won't even let yourself try and reach minor success? Right now you're just living in this cloud of fear and beating yourself up and thinking about all these worst case scenarios. And all that's doing is poisoning your mind. It's poisoning your mind, poisoning your heart, and poisoning this pure passion that you have. This desire that you love so much, this thing that you love so much. You're basically just smearing black paint all over and not even looking at it. Allow yourself to try. Allow yourself to pick up that pen, even for a little bit. It doesn't need to be some crazy thing where you immediately publish it to the world with your government name on it. It can be as simple as, maybe you make an anonymous Tumblr blog and you post the writing snippets that you have. And maybe you turn off comments because you don't want to see what people think about it. You just want to put it out into the world. Whatever those baby steps look like for you, your heart wants you to take them. Because every second that you shut it down or that you don't allow yourself to pursue it, those are like paper cuts to your heart. And it's going to be a death of 1,000 cuts if you never allow yourself to pursue it. And I promise you, the regret that you will have at the end of your life if you never pursue what you're passionate about is going to be 1,000,000 times worse than what some random person comments on it. Or, there was, for example, Chapel Roan. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's a pretty big pop star right now. I'm filming this in 2024. She just kind of blew up a few months ago and now has millions and millions of followers and tons of people love her music. Tons of people love what she's putting out. But it wasn't like she was an overnight success. I mean, I heard her story and it was something like she's been singing and writing songs for 10 years. And there was so many times where people shut her down or people judged her. She got booed. I mean, just horrible things that would crush a person's soul. Certainly would crush my soul and make me never want to sing again. And she finally reached some success where she actually got to put out an EP, and then her record label dropped her. Imagine that, you work your tail off for 10 years, and then you finally get, a song or two out there, and then you get dropped. That's gotta be gut-wrenching, but she kept going. She kept going, and because of that, she's reached this monumental level of success that, most people don't ever reach in their lifetimes. And the reason I think most people don't ever reach it is because they give up long before they ever allow themselves that breakthrough moment. And so, I bring up this to say, it doesn't matter what level of success that you're reaching for, but you're never going to reach any success at all if you allow yourself to give up or cave in when you hear that boo, or when you see that negative comment, or when that record label drops you, or when the publishing house rejects your work. Whatever it is, I promise you, nothing is worse than the regret that you'll feel if you never reach success. I mean, if you never try, not reach success. And that's only 2 cards that we're looking at here. But the other things that I'm seeing here is the protection card clarified by the Knight of Swords reversed. With the protection card, I think you've locked away this passion so hard. I don't know if you're ashamed of it or you're scared of what people might think if you were to pursue it. I don't know what it is. If it's a small business or if it's art or, I don't know, maybe you want to be a famous drag queen. Whatever it is, I feel like you've locked this thing away so hard, so deep down. It's almost like you're ashamed of it. And with the Knight of Swords reversed, you don't even let yourself pursue this thing, but there's still this drive within you despite it. Despite how badly you try to shut it away or not look at it or pretend like you don't have this drive and this passion within you, it's still within you. And it's knocking on the door that is your heart, and it's trying to be seen. It's please, can we just pick up the reins and can we go? And you're the one that's locking it away, pushing it down, and the only thing that's hurting is you. You are hurting yourself by pushing these things down because it's your own love, your own passion, and your own desire that you're stifling. If you have nobody in your corner in the entire world, if there's nobody out there that will support you, if the entire world is against you, you should at least be able to say, you know what, I'm on my own side. And sometimes that's how it might be. It might be that the entire world, or, your entire small town, or all your Instagram followers, or, all your friends around you, maybe they won't understand it. Maybe they won't support you. But you need to be the one person that has your back no matter what. And right now you don't have your back. And so you're never going to be able to see, what you could achieve or how far you could take this thing. But if you are on your own side, it doesn't matter if the whole world is booing. It doesn't matter if the whole world is against you. As long as you're on your own side, as long as you're willing to keep hyping yourself up and putting one foot in front of the other, you can see how far you can take this thing. You can take this thing as far as you want for your entire life. But you can't do that if you're not on your own side. And you need to ask yourself, what do you value more? Do you value your own heart, your own fulfillment, and what you're meant to pursue in this life? Or do you value the judgment of other people? Other people who will maybe never, ever pursue what they care about. People that have never tried to put themselves out on a limb ever in their life. People that have never made themselves vulnerable. You really care more what they think? You really care more what somebody in the background booing thinks when they've never put themselves on stage, they've never put themselves in your own shoes? Why do you care about what they think? Care about what you think. What do you want out of life? Like, really ask yourself that. What do you want out of life? Do you want to be the kind of person that always goes with the flow, is always appeasing other people? Or do you want to be the kind of person that stands up and goes against the grain and says, you know what, I don't care what other people think, I'm going to do what makes me happy. And do it unapologetically. Make yourself happy in the face of all those people that are never going to be able to try it. People that will never be in your shoes. And so finally with the rejection card and the Queen of Wands, I'm even seeing this imagery of, maybe you have this beautiful idea in your mind of a movie you want to make or something. You have this beautiful idea in your mind and all these wonderful ideas coming up. And then there's people that are like, oh, well, that's not my favorite kind of movie. And it's like, okay, well, this is a romance movie and you're somebody that only likes horror movies. Like, what does it matter? There's always going to be people with their own idea of what they think should go, or their idea of what the best quote unquote movie or book or whatever genre. And you don't care about what they think. You care about what you think. And you need to be the kind of person that's embodying this Queen of Wands energy that stands with your head held high, radiates this energy of, you know what, I don't care what you think of this thing. I don't care if you think it's the worst song to ever come out since music was invented. I care about it. I think I did a great job. Be that kind of person that, puts out what you love despite what other people think. That is willing to continue to create and be in tune with your passion and your drive and be in tune with your intuition and what your heart wants you to follow and pursue, and being able to create those things. When you feel that passion and that drive, putting pen to paper, making things happen. There's always going to be somebody that's like giving their unwanted opinion, being like, oh, by the way, I don't like this thing. And you're like, okay, I didn't ask you and I don't care about you. So can you buzz off? So pile 2, I think that's everything that your heart is trying to tell you right now is there's nothing in the world that's going to make you more unhappy than not allowing yourself to follow your heart and follow what makes you passionate. I mean, that's all you really have in life. Things will come and go. Beauty will come and go. Relationships will come and go. But what your heart wants you to follow, that's always going to be within you. And you can choose to plug your ears and not listen to it. And you can choose to regret that at the end of your life. You can choose to care more about what people think and their judgments and appeasing others. Or you can choose to unapologetically say, you know what? I'm going after what I care about. Who cares what other people think? Who cares who's going to judge it? Who cares, what might happen? I'm going to do it anyway because I love it. I think that's what your heart really wants you to do. And it's going to take time. It's not going to be an overnight thing where all of a sudden you have all this confidence. Sometimes it's baby steps. And sometimes there is going to be a comment that knocks us on our ass and then we don't want to create anything for a few weeks. And that's okay. But it's all about, at the end of those few weeks, are you going to put yourself back in the saddle? Are you going to get back up and continue to try? Are you going to brush things off? Are you going to push yourself to see what your limits are and see how much you can do? I think that's what's really going to matter to you in the long run. So, pile 2, that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, pile 3. Last but not least, if you chose the clear quartz, then this is the reading for you. And I want to start off by saying that I am picturing a very specific kind of person in this reading, and there's actually a YouTube video that I watched recently that I'll show you what it was at the end, but it really reminds me of exactly the kind of person that you are, or at least what I'm sensing through the cards. And the kind of person that I'm picturing somebody who, well, I'll just say it. I'll give you the analogy that I'm thinking of. I'm imagining, somebody who became a nurse because people always told them, like, you have this comforting energy and you're really good at taking care of others. You're really good at making sure that people are comfortable. And, you got into this field thinking like, okay, I can make a difference. I can actually care for people. I can alleviate people's pain. I can make sure I'm actually doing good in the world. And then you get into the field and you see people, they actually only care about money. They're shuffling people in and out of hotel rooms as fast as possible. There's all these people that really actually need to be seen. They need to be cared for, but the hospital cares so much more about money that they're throwing people out on their ass because maybe the people don't have insurance and they can't pay, so they don't get the help that they need. And I feel like you're so frustrated because you're like, I am here to help. I am here to give comfort. I am here to take care of others, and yet this entire field and this entire industry only cares about one thing, and that's not the patients. It's about money. It's all about money. And so then I'm now imagining, looking at the determination card and the temperance card, I'm imagining somebody who they've decided to make the choice of going their own way to find something better. Even though the healthcare industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, at probably trillions, I'm imagining this person who's so fed up with the system that they're like, you know what? What if I opened up my own clinic and it was free for other people, and it was based off donation, and we actually cared about others, and we actually made sure people were getting the healthcare that they needed. And maybe it's a really long journey with ups and downs, but there's this determination, this pure determination behind it of, I really care about the patients. I don't care about the money. I don't care about, the bottom line. I care about others. I care about actually doing what's right. And this really goes against the grain of, what's been ingrained into others of, how healthcare, for example, should look. And maybe when people look at you, they're like, there's no way that's going to succeed. There's no way that's going to work out. Or they don't see your grit and your determination. But there's this level of confidence that you're doing the right thing, that you will be able to accomplish it. And I know that was a really quick summary, and I'm going to get into the details here that I'm seeing, but that's the specific energy that I'm getting from this reading. And maybe for others, what you're thinking more is you're more of a holistic healing kind of person. Maybe you like to heal with, I don't know, herbs. I don't really know a lot about holistic stuff, but I don't know, maybe you're like a Reiki healer, or I don't know, maybe you do something outside the box, or maybe, like I said, it's just you're the kind of person that cares more about actually taking care of patients rather than money, and you're just so tired about the way that things have been going. Or maybe it's not physical healing, maybe it's mental healing. Maybe you've seen the way that, for example, in America, our mental health facilities are really not the greatest in the world. We don't have a ton of mental health healthcare infrastructure. A lot of that was destroyed because of how things were in the 50s and 60s, how horrible it was, how horribly we were treating patients. It's kind of like a tangent, but I don't know, maybe, for example, you're the kind of person that you see all these people struggling, and instead of just putting people on drugs, you're like, okay, how can we actually get to the root of the problem here? So I want to start us off by looking at the frustration card and the Queen of Pentacles. When I look at the Queen of Pentacles, and I'm not saying that you have to be female or male, it's just the energy that's showing up here. When I look at the Queen of Pentacles, I'm imagining a very caring and comforting woman, somebody who just has this energy about her that, if a puppy were to crawl up to her, the puppy would fall asleep instantly and just nuzzle into her. Or if she held a baby, the baby would stop crying. I feel like you're the kind of person that you have this comforting aura about you and this energy that just makes people feel really at peace. And I feel like that is your natural talent. And some people would kind of brush that off and be like, well, that's not necessary in today's day and age. What's necessary is drive and being a hustler and, how quickly and efficiently can you get this thing done? And people have forgotten how much need there is for comfort and gentleness in this day and age. And that is where you really shine. And so, like I said at the beginning, maybe you took the route of going into healthcare, and, with the frustration card, it makes me think that the route that you've gone down in life, you're just super frustrated with the way that things are. You're frustrated with, for example, the healthcare system, or like I said, the mental health care system, or I don't know, it could even be like a social worker kind of thing. You're fed up with the way that the court system goes about handling child care cases or child protective care cases, and you're just fed up with it all, and you're like, we could be doing so much better on a human level, but we've put these systems in place that really take out that humanitarian aspect and just treat everybody like they're just a number on a piece of paper. Not like that's an actual person with feelings and a life and a story. And that's what you really care about. And I feel like you have all these thoughts in your head about, things that are wrong with a specific system. Let's say healthcare. You have all these ideas about how it's wrong that, I don't know, people have to rely on insurance that they get from a job, for example, and how unaffordable everything is, and how doctors get paid based on how many patients they can get through in a day, not by how well they actually do on each individual patient. And so let's say you have all these ideas in your head about how frustrated you are with the systems and everything that could be different. When I look at this determination card and the temperance card, I think what your heart wants you to pursue is what you already know is right. You already know, like, I could do so much better if I was in charge of this thing. And maybe you have no idea how to start this. Maybe it's a crowdfunding thing. Maybe it's a coalition or association or, I don't know, something that you want to start, some foundation that you want to start. I really don't know how any of this jargon works. I don't really know what I'm saying, but I hope you get the idea I'm trying to get across. I feel like what your heart wants you to pursue is correcting this system, whether it's from within the system or by starting a completely new, quote-unquote, healthcare system. Like I said, maybe it looks like opening up your own clinic. Maybe it looks like writing a book. Maybe it looks like giving a TED Talk on these issues. Maybe it just looks like bringing awareness. Maybe it looks like going on the political side of things and lobbying for these ideas, lobbying for these changes. And whatever it is, I see that, no matter how long this path is, no matter how winding the road is, no matter how many roadblocks there are, as long as you have this determination and drive and you keep with this passion of how much you care about what is right and how much you care about rectifying these things, you're going to achieve a lot. And like I said, maybe it looks like opening a clinic, or maybe it looks like lobbying for things and giving speeches or bringing awareness. It could be as simple as you start an Instagram that talks about all these issues. And I mean, things start small, and maybe people think like, oh, that's not going to achieve anything. Look, you only have 5 followers. Well, every single Instagram started off with 0 followers. And it's a matter of, how much do you care about it? How hard are you willing to work? I think you could make this happen. And it could just be like signing petitions. Maybe that's what it looks like. Maybe it looks like creating a foundation that people can donate to. Whatever it is, I know that you can do it, and it's what your heart really wants you to pursue. I think that is what's going to bring you true fulfillment, is knowing that when you see these injustices, when you see things going wrong, when you see these things that hurt your heart, knowing that you're actually doing something that matters and making changes that are actually going to benefit people on a human level, I think that's what your heart wants you to pursue. And finally, with the confidence card and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, there's going to be a lot of people around you that are going to have no idea what you're doing. They're going to be like, why do you care so much? Like, things are the way that they are. You think you're going to change $1 billion industry? There's always going to be the naysayers. There's always going to be the people that don't believe in it. There's always going to be the people that would give up a lot earlier than you would have. And why should you care what they think? They have never tried this before. They are the kind of person that would give up. And so what I want you to know right now, and what your heart wants you to know right now, is that you maintaining your own determination, your own drive, and your own confidence, that's what matters most. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the people that would literally roll over as soon as one person was like, actually, that looks a little hard, so you shouldn't do it. Don't listen to that. Listen to your heart. And what your heart wants is your heart's pointing out these things and saying, hey, this doesn't look right. You know this doesn't look right. What can we do to rectify this? Because this is weighing on you heavily. And so I truly wish you the best. I think if this really resonated with you and you have specific issues that you care about, I urge you, comment down below and spread that awareness. It starts small. Even if it's as small as just a comment in a YouTube channel, that's one more comment than there was before. If it's one blog post out on Tumblr, that's one more blog post than there was before. And these things can gain traction in ways that we never expect. But it's all about, getting the word out there, getting people to care about certain things. I mean, like, some of the biggest issues that we're talking about in the world today, things like climate change and stuff like that, that all started with some scientist out there was like, hey, this doesn't look right. These things that we're doing are actually bad for our planet. And they actually decided to stand up and care and make some noise. And because of that, that's one of the leading issues that we talk about around the world today. And, maybe that first scientist that first came out never got to see how big this would become today. But their drive, their passion, and the effect that they had on the world is felt around the world today. And it can be the same with you. And so I don't want you to think or get discouraged if, like, I don't know, you make a post and it doesn't reach 1 billion views. It could be that 20, 30 years from now, you were the pioneer that started this wave of, I don't know, rectifying the healthcare industry, making real changes that actually matter. Or maybe it's a completely different thing that I don't even know about, like saving the penguins or something. But whatever it is, maybe it's something in your hometown, something that really bothers you that you're like, why is nobody caring about this? Why is nobody doing anything about this? You can be the person that is doing something. And there's going to be naysayers, there's going to be people that don't believe in it, but they have not walked a mile in your shoes. So don't care about what they say. So Pile 3, that is everything that I have for you. I really wish you the best in whatever it is that you're doing. I think it's really great that we have people in the world that care about things like this, like you. And, there's a lot of people that will just like a post and move on, and people that don't think very deeply about it, or people that won't even do anything at all. So the fact that you feel this on your heart and you want to do something about it, I really wish you the best. I hope that you can achieve what you're setting out to do. So Pile 3, that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.